Welcome guests, members of the media, and our esteemed panelists. My name is Catherine Hayes, and I'm the Director of Industry Solutions with the South Carolina Research Authority. Also Executive Director for the Center of Resilience Excellence, South Carolina, CORE-SC. CORE-SC was created with the guidance from NASA to research and implement scalable solutions to resilience challenges across the state. With an engineering education and years of manufacturing experience, I'm privileged to partner with South Carolina industry, academic institutions, government agencies, technology startups, and others. We collaborate daily to expand applied research, align business strategies, scale strategic initiatives, and target economic development opportunities in both existing and new technology clusters. For over 40 years, SCRA has been dedicated to bringing together the key players in the innovation across the state. Today, in celebration of Women's History Month, we honor the remarkable achievements of female innovation leaders who are shaping the future of healthcare through technology and research. Just recently, South Carolina's Department of Commerce unveiled its powerful new brand, Launch to Legacy, positioning the state as the premier destination for American innovation. SCRA sees itself as the core of this initiative, dedicated to accelerating technology-enabled growth across academia, entrepreneurship, and industry. But what fuels this innovation and what drives South Carolina's newfound reputation as a model for innovation? A key factor lies in the remarkable rise of life sciences industry within the state. Currently, South Carolina employs over 88,000 people in the life sciences industry, which generates over a $25.7 billion economic impact. In this landscape of innovation, SCRA facilitates collaboration and drives technology-enabled growth. Through initiatives such as our research grants, entrepreneurial support programs, and strategic industry partnerships, SCRA empowers innovators to transform ideas to tangible solutions, propelling South Carolina's innovation ecosystem to new heights. With SCRA at the helm, becoming the new home of American innovation is within reach. As we advance, we will draw inspiration from the resilience and ingenuity of women innovation leaders who continue to shape our state's innovation landscape. Together, let's celebrate their achievements and reaffirm our commitment to driving innovation, creativity, and progress in South Carolina and beyond. Thank you again for joining us today. I hope you enjoy listening and learning from these brilliant women. And now, our SCRA Director of Marketing and Communications, Adrienne Grimes, will introduce our accomplished and esteemed panelists.
Thank you, Catherine. Again, I'm Adrienne Grimes, Director of Marketing and Communications at the SCRA, and I am thrilled to be with you, esteemed ladies today, female founders who are making a difference in life sciences. I'll go in alphabetical order here. We have Terri Bruce, who is the founder and CEO of Victory ExoFibres. She has worked to develop an exosome and viral particle isolation technique to develop screenings and diagnostics for different types of cancers. With a background in cell biology and chemical engineering, Bruce also works as a research assistant professor and director of the Light Imaging Facility at Clemson University. Lindsey Calcutt is the CEO of Incora Health. Calcutt passionately drives forward a mission to enhance the well-being of women worldwide. She has pioneered the development of a cutting-edge earring equipped with advanced technology designed to monitor fertility and overall wellness. Amanda Clark is the CEO and founder of PulManage, a remote patient monitoring platform that connects patients and providers to help them better manage pulmonary health. Her professional goal is to advance the utilization of pulmonary diagnostics in non-traditional outpatient settings for early detection and effective management of lung disease. And Kim Smith is the founder and CEO of Health Evolve Tech, a company dedicated to reducing health risk and deaths in pregnant women. As a board-certified healthcare executive, she brings over 18 years of invaluable experience within prestigious healthcare systems. Good morning, ladies. Just to level set and bring everybody to the table equally, I would like for each of you to describe your product or service, who your customers are, and tell us how you reach them. And Terri, we will start with you.
Well, thank you first to SCRA for inviting us here today. I'm really thrilled to be on board with all of these remarkable folks today. So thank you for inviting me. So at Victory ExoFibres, we have developed a system to actually capture exosomes from different types of liquids from your body. Basically, exosomes are small lipid vesicles that are secreted by all types of cells in your body. And if there is a disease state, the cells that are involved actually will secrete more exosomes. And then we can capture those exosomes and we can look at their contents to try and figure out what is going wrong in your body. So it's a method that we're using to do advanced liquid biopsies, which can be done cheaply and easily at normal health screenings and also remotely. So we were talking about Amanda Clark and Lindsey with the different things that they're doing with these remote systems that are great. This is sort of something that also integrates into that type of idea. Our platform itself is what we term agnostic, meaning that we can modify our polymer fibers to be able to capture any type of viral particle or exosome as long as we have a surface protein that we can actually attach to. So we can take those out of your bloodstream and then look at them to predict what possible problems you may have in your body. Specifically, right now, we are working on two areas. One is for viral work where you would be able to go to your local drugstore that has a pharmacy or a walk-in clinic, minute clinic, and be able to basically put a little strip of something in your mouth, hand it back to someone, and they can tell you within minutes whether you have RSV, flu, or COVID in one strip. And the other thing that we are currently working on very closely with Prisma Health is a screening test for early ovarian cancer, which currently there is no screening test for. And most women are not diagnosed until very late in the disease state, making the newer types of therapies largely ineffective, very difficult to treat disease because we find it so late. So I'm working with Prisma Health in conjunction with SCRA to look at patients right now. We're doing some patient studies there with Dr. Larry Pulls and Dr. Julie Martin at Prisma Health.
Thank you, Terri. Fascinating stuff that's sorely needed. Amanda, what about you? Tell us tell us about your product or service, who your customers are, and how you reach them or plan to reach them.
Well, thank you, Adrienne. Thank you, Catherine, for having us today. My background is respiratory therapy, and so I was affected by respiratory disease early on in my personal life, and so over the last 20 plus years, I've seen thousands of patients with respiratory disease. But as a need that I had as a clinician, seeing those patients come in and out of the clinic and the hospital, I didn't have eyes and ears on what was going on with them in remote locations, and to be able to understand how their disease was progressing. So PulManage is a platform that helps to connect the patients and the providers in a remote manner, right? Because a lot of patients here in South Carolina live in a very rural area. I'm from rural Northwest Arkansas. So when you spend 4 hours making round trip going to and from your physician, that can be really challenging. So the goal here is look for patients, number one, to understand their lung disease, and then two, to be able to mitigate risk and monitor themselves. And all of that information is then sent back to their clinicians in a live dashboard. So right now, we're in our fundraising stage, raising our seed round. So I've been really in the throes of a pitch deck for the last several weeks, but I'll spare you all of the details. I'm going to tell you a little bit about lung disease. Lung disease affects about 8 to 10% of Americans. It's the third leading cause of death by disease. And it disproportionately affects women. So I love this panel, and I love the things that we're doing here in South Carolina and with SCRA and SCBio support, really to bring some awareness. But our customers right now, we are really focused. We're actually focused on 3 different priority markets. Our first priority market is clinical trials. And so we're working with researchers. We've been working with researchers at USC and MUSC. We've got a couple of other projects that will be coming on, and some NIH work later this year.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. More fascinating things that are really connecting patients to their providers and probably helping them be more efficient with the treatment with your tools. Okay, next, let's talk to Kim. Tell us about your product or service, who your customers are, and how you reach them.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Adrienne. Thank you, SCRA, for just this opportunity to share. As you mentioned, I'm Kim Smith, and the founder and CEO of HealthEvolve Technologies. And similar to my amazing colleague, Amanda, I also have a lived experience in kind of why, which will help you understand what we're doing. So 12 years ago, I experienced, as a healthcare leader, I experienced a life-threatening hypertensive disorder of pregnancy, and we lost our daughter, Lauren Kelly, in the process. And one of the things I learned after, of course, working as an insider in healthcare, but also advocating for the past 11 years for improved disparity outcomes, is that there's a disconnect between what happens inside of the clinic, inside the hospital walls, and what happens at home. So the rise of remote patient monitoring is so critical. And so with that said, our team of engineers and physicians, we built Lauren, which is a digital platform that helps women that are pregnant, postpartum, and really transitioning into healthy aging, manage their health goals outside of the walls of the clinic. It allows them to take a health risk assessment. They get a health score, and with the power of machine learning, able to self-manage their score, self-manage their goals, excuse me, and also have resources right in the palm of their hand that are industry standard resources that are educational. That data is shared with their care team in real time, and their care team may include a physician, although it may also include a doula. It may include a midwife. It may include also a community health worker if they're part of a Healthy Start program. So we created, in a way, a digital care village for women, putting the woman at the center of their own health ecosystem. Our long-term goal of HealthEvolve is to really be able to reduce and mitigate risk for women and ultimately reduce the onset of disease. Because we do know that with high-risk pregnancies, you're unfortunately twice as likely to develop heart disease. So even myself, at the age of 29, to experience a hypertensive loss, and at the age of 40, to have to enter one of my cardiology offices. So this is a real problem for women, and I'm so grateful to have the privilege to build a solution. So in terms of who we're targeting, I mentioned we're focused on pregnant women and postpartum women, but to my own example, women are more than their reproductive age. So we ultimately want to address maternal morbidity and go beyond that as a transition to healthy aging and menopause. In terms of how we reach them, we are a B2B to C company. So we're working with health plans and hospitals and ultimately employer-sponsored health benefit solutions to reach the women that we are really wanting to support in terms of improving outcomes. And we are pre-go-to-market as well, but we're in the midst of launching our first clinical pilot. We have a partnership with USC School of Medicine in Greenville, as well as Prisma Health, and we'll be announcing a few additional partnerships to reach more of rural South Carolina within the coming months. So grateful to be on and excited to be a part of the conversation with all of you.
Thank you. Again, you all are creating more efficiency that probably can help treatment happen even sooner. Lindsey.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lindsey Calcutt. Nice to meet you, and thank you so much, SCRA, for the opportunity to be here today. Just like Kim and Amanda both said, I also have a real life experience that really brought me to start Incora Health with my co-founder, Teresa Gavart. Generally, overall, the complications as being a woman in the healthcare system really opened my eyes and really told myself there needs to be better tools and better ways that women can really understand their body and empower themselves with the knowledge, the data, and be able to have the confidence to even speak to their clinicians in a way that they should be able to feel. So that's why we started Incora Health, and Incora Health is bringing to the market the first of its kind clinical backed wearable device as an earring. So we have a novel earring that is tracking all kinds of vital signs and core biodata, and taking that personalized data and providing actionable insights and also recommendations to the women that are wearing the earrings. We're first launching and focusing on women in reproduction years, really focusing on getting pregnant, and then also eventually not getting pregnant, and overall wellness based off of her menstrual cycle. So that's our initial target audience. We're currently in clinical trials with Prisma Health and the USC School of Medicine right now. So we're super excited about that collaboration. And we're also going to be announcing a couple of other clinicals as well in the next coming months. So thank you for having me.
Okay. So I was just taking some notes. What a powerhouse. So just in the last few minutes, we have you powerhouse women covering cancer, heart health, lung health, and women's health in general. I feel pretty safe right now. So this is Women's History Month, and it's exciting to see all of you on the path of making healthcare more accessible. Can you all discuss why you think it is important that women stay at the forefront of all this healthcare innovation? And I'll just open up the floor and let you talk, or I'll call on someone if I have to. So why do you think it is important that women stay at the forefront of healthcare development and innovation?
Well, I guess I'll start. For years, as women, the focus on us in clinical studies, in foundational research, into health situations has been limited at best. The just general knowledge about women and women's health has lagged far behind the general population and men. And where, for example, just talking about ovarian cancer screening, men have prostate screening. They've been able to get their PSA levels checked for years. And now there are platforms like the one we're developing that can even go and tell them whether or not they really need a biopsy. So that, men can have high PSA for a number of reasons, but only a few really need the biopsy. So they've made it very convenient for the dudes. But, us ladies, we just don't have those tools available to us because the research has lagged. That it has not been a priority. And we have to, as women, take control ourselves and be like, you know what? We are important. Our health is crucial. It's crucial not just to us as individuals, but to society in general. And we need to pay better attention. We're different. We're not all the same. And we have very specific needs that need to be addressed. And what better way to bring those to the fore than to have women at the helm doing that? We know ourselves, we know our bodies, we're in tune with our bodies, and we can address those things as they need to be, and we can advocate for ourselves. So I think it's very important to have the opportunities given to women to come to the table and say, you know what, that's great, but this is what we need. as women. So we're going to ask for this funding. We're going to ask for support from government programs, funding programs, and local groups like SCRA, which are crucial to helping us out. That's why I think is we know ourselves, right? We know what the problems are, and we are the ones who should name them and start really pushing forward on addressing them.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I would love to add as well, that was a great response, Terri, that we do know ourselves. However, a lot of times we put our health on the back burner because as women, you know, we make about probably over 80% of all decisions in health care for our families. We're caregivers. So whether it's the children, our parents, our partners, many cases, women put all of those decisions up front. So women's health themselves, even though they feel good, maybe they don't feel good, they put it on the back burner. So to really focus on women's health, that not only provides support to over 50% of the population, that provides support to everybody because women take care of their families. So they need to be healthy to be able to provide the care to the families as well. So that's why women's health is very important and the innovation around women's health.
I'm going to piggyback off of that. And my first, when you asked that question initially, my first thought was, you know, as women, as we age, our body, our systems change dramatically. Unlike our male counterparts, I mean, they go through puberty, but other than that, they pretty much stay pretty consistent. And so one thing that I know is true for myself and my immediate family, we've experienced a number of health issues related to our reproductive system, but they also affect the rest of our systems. And so as a lady, you know, you're getting older and you think, okay, well, I'm just out of shape. That's why I can't, why I'm having a little trouble climbing the stairs. Maybe I'm just I gained a little bit of weight, you know, it's nothing, right? But some of the first signs of lung disease are those little, just very subtle things. Like maybe it's harder for me to go on hikes with my family like I used to. Maybe I'm out of breath by the time I reach the top of the stairs and I can't talk to somebody for a few minutes. Those are the things that we don't talk about as women, but those are things that really need to be studied and understood. And to Terri's point, with regards to clinical trials and understanding research, we have not included women. I mean, it's been less than 50 years that women have been included in clinical trials and research, and our bodies respond differently to medications and therapies. And so, again, I think there's a real need for women to lead this charge, and to really kind of highlight. These are things that we need to check up on. Lung health is very important, and women are disproportionately affected, but women also have more severe lung disease than men do. And so having that diagnosis come through early on, having that spirometry screening and having those visits with your primary care doctor and your internal medicine folks, and really just beginning to mark your health journey is incredibly imperative, I think, to us moving forward.
Yeah, and if it's okay, I'd love to add, one, I completely agree with everything that you all have said. I'll also say from the health consumer perspective, if we think about women as a consumer, there is a rise in the consumer voice that we're seeing, right? There is an expectation that their voice is at the table, not just as an afterthought, but from the ground level in the build. And that's important in terms of the products we're offering and how we engage patients, how we engage consumers, but also because of the heightened level of distrust with science, I believe that we're in a very unique opportunity to really right that ship, to be more of a face of not just providing insight and input on clinical trials and consumers, which is needed, but also as the builders, as the innovators, to bring women more at the table with building solutions that they care most about, right? We all understand the UX process and that from a technical perspective. So it's important that women see women building, right? And that creates a level of trust that we all need in the life science space. And we also, as you all already said, we know our bodies. We understand the changes. And from a pregnancy perspective, there's a lot that happens in the womb. As a baby in a womb, your health is impacted by your mother's health. So we know that from a science perspective, or from a research perspective. So there's so much opportunity, I believe, with this rise of the consumer voice to really support women innovators for sure.
Thank you. All just so insightful for all of us to be thinking about. I'm sure you, like I, have noticed the increased focus on life sciences here in South Carolina. Why do you think it's important that this is happening? And do you think it's going to help you as you continue to build your business, just to focus on life sciences? Think
If I can get my
I guess we're just going, I don't know. I don't know if we want to keep the same order or not, but make it easier instead of jumping in. I don't know. So I would just say that a really strong foundational infrastructure across the state is so crucial for any startup. But when you're talking about the life sciences, it's especially important to be able to have the expertise that we need for consultation, to have the suppliers being attracted to the state so that we can do the kind of work that we need to do easily. Having access to things like grant funding, incentivizations, networking, access to incubator space for companies like my own are crucial things that we need. And this focus on life science is going to propel that. And I'm really excited about future plans. And I think it will contribute significantly to the success of many life science startups. The integration with our university systems and our medical facilities is really important. And having someone like SCRA and different groups to help foster those connections is important. Being able to take from the universities and move from fundamental research to translational application-based things that we can put out into the life sciences arena. Having all of that, the new focus on the life science across the state is really invaluable. I can't stress it enough.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'll just mention real quick, if it's okay, just from an economic perspective, South Carolina is the fastest growing state in the country right now. And the life science industry, as I believe Catherine mentioned earlier, is the fastest growing industry in the state. So it definitely makes sense from an economic perspective to devote resources in that direction, because that's we're really seeing a lot of incredible growth, the ability to create jobs and to attract top leaders and innovators, not just that are in South Carolina already, but to bring more in, bring the talent in. As Terri was mentioning, I think it's a wise focus area, and it's great to see organizations like SCRA, SCBio really focus on, and commerce focus on life sciences. So definitely grateful for the infrastructure, and meeting SCRA actually last year to start my journey. So this is, from my view, why there's such a focus on life sciences in the state.
And the resources that SCRA provides really helps to connect that ecosystem, right? That we have great founders, startup companies in the upstate, in the Midlands, and also the low country, where SCRA is a connector to be able to, introduce all of us just here together, since we're spread across the state. We need that support through SCRA, and SCRA does a fabulous job of connecting the dots to make all of that happen in not only just an introduction, but also a collaboration and beyond the introduction. So that's what SCRA has really brought to the table and helped really excel the industry of life sciences within South Carolina.
I appreciate all of that. Catherine, don't be mad. I'm going to put you on the spot here because a lot of what we're known for in the media, because it's more visual, are our grants and our investments, our funding. There are a lot of things that happen in the background that I appreciate you all bringing up, the way we form connections and collaborations. So Catherine, can you speak just a little bit, just to give the audience just a snippet of the types of connections that we make between our startups and research and developers and then sort of industry? Like, how does that actually happen? What process does your team go through to bring those people together? And why is it important to help their business grow? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. Okay. And while she's trying to unmute, Catherine, I'm going to give her some grace. She is without her laptop this week. So unfortunately, we were like talking yesterday and we're like, you can't be without your laptop this week because of the panel tomorrow. And she's such a trooper. She said, I'm going to do this from my phone, Adrian, and it's going to be okay. So anyway, but Catherine works with Industry Solutions and they are really in the background. And so I just wanted her, she's having some issues, but just wanted her to talk a little bit about those connections and how they are important. As a startup in your early stage and you're trying to grow your business, when you think of customers, sometimes that customer could be a whole industry that is looking for the type of technology that you are developing. And so Industry Solutions does just that. They work with industry and they find out what those technology needs are. What kind of issues are they dealing with? Sometimes it's a safety issue. Sometimes it's an efficiency issue. And you all are all developing things and tools and services to meet those needs. And that's what Industry Solutions is about. And that's what her team does. You all are developing, and sometimes you might be developing a thing for one audience or one customer. Industry Solutions can help you sometimes see that there's another industry or another avenue or another group of people out there that might be looking for what you are doing. And a lot of times it's just wonderful to hear those stories about, they were developing this thing for this, but it turns out that, said industry is also looking for that. So that's the wonderful thing about technology and innovation. And Terri, you talked about the application of all of those things. So can you unmute Catherine? If not, we can, okay. We'll go on. So some of you touched on it in your responses, but I'd like for you, for the audience and any media that we have listening, what can South Carolina do better to help innovators like you all? Are there some things that come to mind, whether they're legislatively or budget-wise or just collaborative-wise, that you can think of, that if you could give some advice? I know South Carolina is doing well and focusing on life sciences, but if you could give some advice to South Carolina leaders, what would you say to them that would help you?
Amanda, I may be stealing your answer because you're in the thick of it. However, I do want to bring up the fundraising, really the funding. I'm sure a lot of people do know that women do receive about 2% of VC funding. So very, 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 very challenging of raising capital, where we have some support of getting to, grants with NIH and federal grants and some state grants. SCRA does a fabulous job of providing the acceleration grant, the PDF grant as well at the very initial phases. But there's that, kind of next phase before really kind of that VC ready phase of the angel investors and before you're really doing a Series A, that's a little bit of a gap there. So if we can have maybe not, maybe it's funds, that would be ideal. Maybe it's funds and support to get to the Series A. That would be, just brainstorming on pitch decks and brainstorming on business plans and things of that nature. That's really where, at least we all probably on this panel can highlight that there is some improvement can happen there. And also being a woman in the space of fundraising is even more challenging as well.
So I'll piggyback off of that comment. Thanks, Lindsay. You're right. It is very difficult. So I'm in that strange in-between space. I've had some great grant opportunities from SCRA, and one in particular that really helped to kind of propel us into our commercial product was a COVID tech grant that we received. We worked with the University of South Carolina for that, and I apologize, my phone's ringing. But with that being said, I think there really is, there's this weird in between. So how do you make that? I will say that I've had a couple of different advisors through SCRA over the years, and I will tell you that they're improving and helping us to put together our pitch deck, and they changing their investment thesis to really help fill that gap space. And so I'm really excited about some of the things that are coming down the pike. But I think really, to answer your question, Adrienne, what would help us? I think to have a clear path, right? So if we understood that we need to be a part of X accelerator and we need to be part of X group, right? And this is your founders group, and this is your mentor, this is your mentee, and this is the path. And I think that we're going to get there. I've unfortunately been one of the trailblazers, I think, having to kind of learn it the hard way, and let's try something different. And that's okay, because someone has to go first. And so I'm not opposed to that. But I think really just having that laid out nice and neatly. So, looking at some of the folks in the bio life sciences space that are huge in the country. You've got the Bay Area, and you've got Boston, and that's what they have, right? So if you go into Mass Bio, they tell you, like, here's your path, right? And we're going to connect you with these investors at this level. We're going to connect you with this accelerator. We're going to put you, right? So you have all those pieces together. And I really feel like the leadership here in South Carolina from SC Bio, from SCRA, from the Commerce Department, they're really, really trying to pull this together. And we have really probably some of the best opportunity for anyone in the nation. For my industry, respiratory, the therapeutic space, South Carolina is the place to be. Almost 100% of nebulized medication for the United States is manufactured right here in our state. And we don't talk about that on the clinical side. I didn't know that until I kind of got onto kind of moved out of clinic and into industry and started meeting partners. So I think there are a few things that we could do. We could highlight maybe some of the resources we have, but if we could begin to build that bridge essentially in that path and establish a pattern, that would be incredibly helpful.
Yeah, I agree with that. You all are spot on with funding. We're preparing to start our first round of funding, ideally later this year. I definitely agree with that. I agree with the path. Even to expound on the path piece, which really resonated very timely with me, Amanda, is also that we can help you build it. And I say that a little, not quite hesitantly, but pretty confidently that we can help you build it. And I say that because it's amazing the level of talent and visibility that we have as startups. I mean, we're all fresh out of corporate, right? So we understand corporate life, how sometimes things in industry move a little slower with creating change, even within an innovative space. But as startups, you become very adapt to moving quickly into being very creative and building solutions and creating your own path in some ways when all the infrastructure is there, but you can kind of become the glue. and you find and uncover a lot of things, and we share it amongst each other. Like, you should talk to this person, you should do this, you should have this conversation. This is the language. This is the new language you need to learn. This is the translator, for the language. And we do all that amongst ourselves as startups, also while also knowing the corporate space, right? So there's a wealth of knowledge from leaders, women, innovators that you've invested in that really could help you build that ecosystem path, that connectivity, just because we have fresh eyes, we've seen it, we've been the ones walking down it. So, and I don't know what that looks like. Maybe that's a more formalized innovation hub for women. Maybe it's our own version of Techstars in a way that's really for life sciences. But instead of just inviting us to be a part of it, having a grassroots perspective and allowing us to help build it would be a really exciting and meaningful exercise, I believe.
This is fascinating. So what you're talking about, when you think of the whole ecosystem, it sounds like you're talking about sort of a roadmap, right? That would sort of lay things out sequentially. And I wrote down a couple of things that I want to look into. I wrote down, so you guys gave me a resource, MassBio and Techstars are some places that we can look for what that model looks like. That could be adopted here just for our state. We're not that big of a state, so I would imagine that with some eyes and some focus on this is something we could do. It wouldn't, the roadmap would be something that's adaptable, right, for different entrepreneurs and founders based on what they're doing. But I love that idea. We're getting to the point where we need to open it up for Q&A for the audience. But I had a quick question. What are your thoughts on, or what advice would you have? I have to ask this for other women wanting to start their businesses in life science. And do you have any experience with mentorship? Have you either been a mentor, or are you providing, are you mentoring someone else, or is someone mentoring you? I just wanted you to speak on that real quickly before we open it to Q&A.
So on the mentor-mentee side, I have to give a shout out to Janine Rogers at SCRA. She's been a great mentor, and I've really appreciated everything that she's done for us. I do have a network of mentors are in and around the Atlanta area. My brother was a venture capitalist, and he has a network of pals who have really helped me along the way. I guess if I can give a piece of advice for women and just people in general starting out in the life sciences area, you really ought to know your audience. In other words, like, who is your technology or your service, your business? Who's benefiting from that? And it's more than just a funding thing, right? It's actually being able to connect very closely with potential customers and consumers, understanding their needs and desires, and even more than that, understanding who they are and developing a sense of personal identification with the issue. And it's so important. I work a lot with a group of ovarian cancer survivors with the South Carolina Ovarian Cancer Research Foundation. And there are days you're going to experience as a new business owner where you get up and you go, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? I just would rather go back to bed or do whatever. I'd love to go rafting, or I'd love to go shopping with y'all, but I can't. I have to do, this for my company. But having that personal connection and really understanding their stories, their needs, their concerns, that really helps you dig deep on those days when it can be very difficult to do that. And it brings a feeling of just really a sense of, I am doing something, and there's a real purpose for what I'm doing, and somebody is going to benefit from this if I can just keep going. So it really does help as a driver when you need it. So That's all I'll say about that. I'll let somebody else talk.
Well, I was about to announce that, and thank you, Terri. I was about to announce that if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, and the questions are coming in. So if I can, I'll just make sure we answer these great questions. This one comes from Ayaba Logan. She wants to know from Health Evolve, will breastfeeding, are you all considering adding breastfeeding support into your service?
That's a really great question. You must be in my mind. One of the things in terms of feedback that we've received and we talked through, both from, leaders that I know that work with the Office of Women's Health and our mentors, advisors, and talking to women is they want to connect mom and baby. We want to do that in some way. What we're in the midst of right now is studying how to do that most effectively and what aspects of Lauren really should pull in the baby. So in the very near future, we're actually going to be announcing the ability to open up a Lauren focus group. That's invitation only for people to be a part of this. Get a behind the scenes demo of Lauren based on what we've learned from our pilot work with Prisma, and provide some of that feedback to kind of see the functionality, to see what would be the most meaningful, not necessarily in terms of what buttons and functions, but the value add, what is most important to help mom, really help us take better care of mom as she takes care of baby. So it could be breastfeeding. It also could be just keeping your mind clear on her medication, if she's taking medication, and then also appointments, keeping track of all the follow-up appointments. So we're talking through what makes the most sense and how it aligns with our core focus on hypertension, diabetes, and mental health indicators. But great question. And I'll share more information about the focus group.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that, Kim. We have a question from Ashley McCall, and this is for anyone on the panel. She wants to hear insights or lessons learned that you can share with other women getting ready to start this path that you all are already on.
I'll start with that one, and I'll do more of the insights and also lesson learn. Really starting Incora Health and also some previous ventures as well. One of the biggest things I've learned throughout the journey is to ask questions and to really be open and understanding that you're in the learning phase at the beginning and, adaptable and flexible of learning. Like you said, Adrienne, finding mentors and maybe other women, other men that are a couple of years ahead of you in your journey in the space and just learning from them. And asking questions. And I really look up to Kim of doing this. Her and I met maybe a year ago, and she always has the most insightful questions for me. I'm like, whoa, you really make me think. That's wonderful. So we're able to, ask each other questions too as founders and really learn from each other. And knowing that a lot of us here on the call today are in, helping women's health. It's definitely a great partnership and to be able to lean on one another, whether they're a couple of years ahead of you or kind of at the same space or the same time point or next milestones that you're looking for. But asking questions and being open to learning initially is key.
Thank you. Anyone else? Amanda?
So this is my PulManage. This is my third endeavor. But I will tell you that it's tremendously different than my previous two endeavors. I didn't have to have capital. Outside external capital, I was able to basically cash flow and self-fund. So this is a little bit different experience. I would say that you need to know what you need to know what your product is. You need to know your customer. You need to have a network of people. So your network could come from like some of these small startup groups. There's groups in Columbia and Charleston and Greenville. But I think just being a part of something and someone to kind of help when the grind gets pretty hard, to help you keep going and encourage you on is really helpful. But I would also say don't quit your day job just yet because the path to revenue can sometimes be much longer than one feels like it should be. So have a backup. My dad always told me have a backup to the backup. So that would be my advice.
All right, that's wonderful. Anyone else? And
I
keep
would say, well, I would just quickly add that there's some times where you get involved in a venture because there's a lived experience, and in the case of our company, it involves the loss of a child. So there's a bit of heaviness that comes and triggers that comes, and I meet, because when you're in advocacy for so long, you meet a lot of women that are in it because there's a close connection. So my big advice is to make sure you take care of yourself. I've been saying that a lot lately. Even though we're pre-go to market, I've decided, I've made the decision as CEO of my own company, I'm going to invest in a wellness fund for myself to make sure that a wellness benefit, that you're taking care of yourself, and even after exit, you want to be whole at the end, over at the on the other side of this thing. So I think as women, we are so quick to put on the cape and to build, and we are the problem solvers, right? So that and you're more than likely, if you're thinking about it, you're extremely brilliant already and connected, but make sure that you take care of yourself in the journey. That's my biggest advice.
That's really good. Anyone else?
I guess I would just say be willing to listen and pivot if you need to. Don't be so entrenched in your ideas that you block out good ones and ones that are very responsive to what the market is really after or what they need. So we've had to, for us, we've had to do that a little bit. We were very focused on developing kits for researchers for exosome studies. And we found out really fast that where everybody wants us is more on the diagnostics and biomarker side of what we're doing. And so we've pivoted to focus more of our patient studies just on that in particular. So be willing to do that pivot and adjust as you need to.
Like that flexibility, adaptability. We have, this one isn't really a question, but it's a statement. I'm glad to see it because I have some information about that. It comes from Julie Hussey, and she wants to know what SCRA is doing to facilitate early stage investing by accredited and non-accredited investors into female and minority-led businesses. Julie says she wants the state to open the door to founders. So this is a really good statement. SCRA is doing a lot. One of the big things we're doing is leading the science. We're sort of a lead facilitator on the state's official science and technology plan. And it's a big plan. It talks about a lot of things, but there is an IE section, and that stands for innovation and entrepreneurship. And that action item is to bring more funding, attract more funding to the state. And so there's a marketing plan that's being worked on by a lot of organizations. We're involved, Commerce is involved. Next Gen, they used to be Next in Greenville, Next Gen, Venture South. You should never start calling names because you forget names. But it is a statewide initiative with the work group. I'm in it. And there are people from the Myrtle Beach area, the Rock Hill area, Greenville. We wanted to make sure there were people from all of the areas and a lot of the funders. And what we're trying to do is just figure out how to get more funding in for all entrepreneurs and founders, as well as women and minorities. So Julie Hussey, I'm going to keep your name, and maybe that's a work group. Everybody wants to join another committee, right? So your reward for bringing that forward might be that I'll reach out to you and see Ladies, I want to thank you all for joining us today. I want to thank the members of the media that are in the audience, and also invite members of the media to contact me directly if you want to have any questions, or if you have follow-up questions about what SCRA is doing, or if you would like to get in touch with these phenomenal female innovators and want to talk to them further. I want to offer myself as sort of a conduit between you and them so that you can get the stories and learn more about all of the wonderful things they have going on in this state. I also want to thank our audience for joining us, and I want to thank NP Strategies, our PR partner, for helping us put together this wonderful event in Women's History Month. Women's History Month is nice to hear about, women, the Susan B. Anthonys of the world. But one of the things I think is really cool about these history months is to talk to women like you who are actually making history right now, and we see it happening. So thank you again for joining us today. This is so exciting. I'm inspired. I already know there are going to be like 10 takeaways just from us doing this. So thank you for your time and your dedication and sharing your stories, and have a good rest of your day. Thanks, everyone.